lot of people feel that education isn't fun, and we're having a hard time getting the new generation interested in learning. And I really believe that media, the arts, is the place to start.
We've got a little miniature United Nations on this campus, and you've got all these cultures working together where there's not a lot of conflict in the cultures. Basically different peoples get together and work.
Roland Animation program started about 15 years ago. It was just part of an art class. And we never really expected it to turn into a studio program. It was just a project-oriented class that did some animation. What it eventually became was 13 classes of animated filmmaking done by students and totally run, operated by students.
It's not like regular classes in school where the teachers keep all the students at the same set, make each one do the same thing. This class lets you work to your ability, and Mr. Master is able to help any student at any level where they're at, and he helps them with the standpoint of where they're at and helps them get to the next level.
This cooperative learning where the kids are working together, constantly working together. Mr. Masters and Don Garman, the other teacher in this program, and myself as a student teacher, we basically direct and group people together, and they do most of the work. This whole program is run by the students. Everything you see is inspired by the students, and Mr. Masters oversees it.
I know it's stressful, and next weekend will be tougher.
I haven't taught a single student how to operate any equipment in this room for over 4.5 years. Not a single button have I taught anybody how to push, which is kind of funny because I was named National Technology Teacher of the Year in 1991, and I haven't taught a single student how to operate a piece of equipment for a couple of years before that or since then. But I think that's really the way kids learn. They learn by seeing, hearing, and doing especially. You know, you keep it for the rest of your life.
I think this school, high school though it be, would have to be rated among the top 5 animation schools in the world. Dave came up to visit us about 15 years ago when our studio was in Hollywood, and happened to be a couple of animators I was having lunch with. And we took Dave along, and he fell in love with animation and was determined, he said, to start an animation unit out here. And he told me at that time he had 1 gooseneck lamp and I think 1 animation board, not a disc even. And that's what he started with. Well, this is quite different.
Our students produce more films than any other program at any age level in the entire world, and that's including colleges. Over 100 films a year, over 1,500 films in the history of our program. Winning over 850 awards, including first place internationally 13 years in a row. Our former students work in every facet of production: film, television, animation, commercials, special effects, design, computer graphics, directing, software and hardware design, and even theme park design.
I've never seen an animation program like ours in the United States, or any other country for that matter. There's something about our program that we stand apart from. I think it's the way that the class is structured.
Out of anything, this is the class I benefited the most from. It teaches you responsibility. He gives you creative freedom. And you get to exercise everything that you've learned in all the years of education and put it together. It culminates in this class. He's taught me a lot.
It helped me a lot. It helped me a lot in English class with my writing, because what Mr. Master teaches is not just animation, but how to take anything and put it together in clear order so it's easy to understand first and then entertaining second. And then when you can get both, that's a really, really good skill to have. So in my writing, it helped me write well-organized essays and well-organized papers. Stuff I didn't even know I had to learn or knew before, but really, putting together an animated film is one of the hardest things that you can imagine. There's so many things to do. I mean, when you actually stop and think about it, you say, this is impossible, I can't do this, but somehow Mr. Master teaches it in a cohesive way so it makes sense, and it applies to all other aspects of life, too.
I don't think you can be an educator if you just teach a subject. I think you have to understand that you're teaching students, you're working with other human beings to create new knowledge. I think that's what does it. If I was just teaching a subject or having people learn about a subject, then I would not probably make those kinds of friendships with a lot of my students. But because together we are creating new knowledge, then there's a closeness that develops because you're embarking on an adventure. You're working with someone to create something that's never been created before. The knowledge isn't just something to memorize, it's something to use.
This is Milo, the Roland Animation mascot.
When we started the open house, it was 15 years ago, and all it was a couple of tables in a library. And it was just the films the kids had made. They brought in some of the sets and some of the characters. They put them out on library desks, and we had cookies and punch. And the parents loved it. Each year it got bigger and bigger. And I had a student at that time, a 12-year-old student named John Ramirez in the program, and he said, why don't we do some stuff, make it more entertaining?
And when it came a time to do our open house in the animation class, it didn't have the same excitement that I thought it should, because we only showed our films. We had sets with the clay characters on them, and it didn't have any spark.
And he had been doing Halloween open houses in his garage, and he said, let me try some of this. And I said, because this has been the hallmark of our program, go ahead, we'll go for it. You try it out, you work it out with your friends, and we'll do it. Well, it was a big hit.
And every year we've been building steadily to where now I think it's more like an expo than an open house. And this year we're calling it a studio tour, because that's what it is.
This is incredible. Love is one thing, but when you can combine love and skill, is what's happened here. Like these backgrounds are taken from the original backgrounds as they were designed, and the characters themselves are taken from my drawings or my animator's drawings. So we've seen a lot of amateur things, but this isn't amateur. This is professional. And the term professional, to me, is the finest term you can give an artist.
I certainly support it because I'm responsible for all the recruitment and training for feature animation at Disney. And the kids that are out here doing what they're doing is just so far in advance of any other school that I'm aware of in the country. And I've always hoped that it would really spark a major change in attitude on the part of the educational establishment, particularly at the high school level.
They're making films that are professional, which is astounding in the few short years that they could do that, and being so young.
Oh, I think it's fabulous. Oh, yeah. And especially the inner city schools that have joined in the program. It's one time in the life of many of those kids that they're actually going to see their name on a screen, and it's so exciting for them. And even if they never go through into any more artwork after they get out, it was the one time they were part of something and they were an individual.
I was a dropout, basically, but I found myself here developing myself. I went to college, I graduated, came back to the program as an intern, worked with the students, and through Mr. Masters' influence and encouragement, I went on to pursue my degree in teaching. And what's excellent about the program is there's a bunch of throwaway kids out there on this campus and on every campus where they find themselves, they say, I can't make a film, but they can do other things, they can do a million other things, and this program sets it up.
Programs like this are probably the future. I can't see the work out of doing the odd numbered questions on Monday and the even numbered questions on Tuesday holding students' interest. I don't think it's valuable. I don't think students retain it. I think hear, see, and do learning is here to stay. And now that we have the technology to make that possible every single day in the classroom, why not do it? I think it is the future. The technology now allows us to have kids hear, see, and do every single thing they learn. So let's do it.